Just answer them the best you can, and if you can't think of an answer for it, we'll move on to the next one. This is Reva Jones Thorpe. The first question is, where were you born, Mother?
Cherry Creek, Idaho.
Cherry Creek, Idaho. Were there any unusual circumstances regarding your birth?
Not that I know of. I was born in Grandma and Grandpa Harris's house, where we were living at the time.
That's in Cherry Creek, right? And what date was that, Mother?
October the 17th, 1921.
And that's in Oneida County, Idaho. What is the origin of your name? You know why?
I have no idea where she got it from.
You're not named after anybody that you know of?
No.
Can you remember anything about your playmates or your best friends when you were young?
Not down to Cherry Creek.
How long did you live down there?
Till I was 6 years old and went to school. They moved to Milan.
Okay, and so who were your playmates when you got up here, Mother? Were you your neighbors up here, your cousins and stuff like that? Were they high school?
I can't think of any friends I had in that first place I lived at.
Okay.
And in the second place, I went around with Raul Evans, and I can't think who else lived over there either.
Is that the governor's son?
No.
Or brother?
Brother.
Governor's brother, John Evans?
He's the same age as I am. We went to school together.
Did you live over there by them?
Across the street from him.
So that's on Main Street?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did you have any nicknames?
No.
No nicknames?
Can't think of any.
What were your favorite foods when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I have no idea. Mother was a pretty good cook, but I don't know what my favorite was. On Mondays, we always had ham and beans. While on wash day, always had ham and beans.
What did I say? Do you have any pets?
No.
Growing up?
No.
Do you remember any games you used to play as a child?
When we moved over here, we used to play kick can and hide and seek, and something about lamb. Run, sheepy lamb.
Run, sheepy, run?
Yeah.
And who did you play that with over here?
Oh. My cousin May. And Clem and Leela. And Remo, John. We all lived right here in a row. And Junior and Bud and Cleo Davis. That about took care of this block.
Yes.
Oh, and Claire Davis. He used to too.
You used to live down here on the corner,
Yeah.
didn't you? Can you think of any of life's lessons that you learned at an early age? That's
No.
kind of a tough one. What do you remember about fashions or fads as you were growing up?
That was something I was always interested in, is clothes. And my mother was a good seamstress, and she made a lot of them, but I had a lot of clothes. And that was my favorite thing, I guess.
So during the Depression and all that, you always seemed to have what you needed?
Yeah, I don't even remember the Depression. Everybody laughs at me, but I don't. I don't remember living through that.
What were the happiest or the saddest experience you had as a child?
Oh, I don't know. When I come up here to go to school, I always went back down to Cherry Creek with Bud. My Uncle Bud worked in the Evans Co-op. And I'd go down after school and ride down to Cherry Creek with him, and he'd bring me back in the morning. And the saddest thing, I think, from my childhood is when my Grandpa Harris died. Because I was really close to him. And then my Grandpa Jones died right close after that. And I lived across the street from Grandpa Jones. And they were both my good friends.
What was Grandpa Harris's name?
Everett,
Everett. And John Jones.
yeah, John M.
John M. Jones. So they were the saddest that you can remember as a child.
Another thing, when I was really young, my Grandma Harris died, and I'd lived there with them for all those years. It was 6 years. But she died before we moved to Milan. And she was in bed. I never can remember her up moving around. She was always in bed.
What was her name?
Margaret Ann.
Margaret Ann Harris.
I'm skipping around, Brent.
No, you're doing fine. It's just great. What are the full names, birth dates, and birthplaces of your brother and your sister?
Well, Sheldon was born 4 years after me in the same place in Cherry Creek. And Karma was born in Milan. And Sheldon was born, supposed to give his date?
If you can remember it, yeah.
October the 17th. No, October the 15th, 1925.
1925. And how about Karma?
And Karma was born in Milan, in that first little place we lived in. And she was born on the 3rd of June. Oh, what was it, 3 years after Sheldon, must have been
28.
28.
And that was over on Main Street that Karma was
No,
born?
that was right over here in the next block. I forget who. It was just a little house we lived in that first time, just 3 rooms.
So that was over on, let's see, this is second one,
100
first west. 100 West.
It was just a little tiny house, a little yellow house.
How many bedrooms, do you remember?
I think it was just one. I think there was just 3 rooms, I think. It's been a long time ago.
Okay, where do you fit into the family chronologically? Chronologically.
The oldest. The oldest, you mean?
Yep.
Yep.
Tell something about your brother and your sister, about your relationship with them.
Well, we got along really good, the 3 of us. The folks, Dad played baseball, and they went every Sunday and left us kids still home alone. But we really managed fine. And one time, I don't know if it was when they were playing ball or not, but we couldn't get Sheldon's shoe off him. We tried, and we couldn't get them untied and get it off. And he went to bed, and I made him leave the foot out that had the shoe on, so he went with the sheets dirty. And Mother come home and she said, something, my son John went to bed with this big shoe on. And I always remember that. And then one Sunday they were gone, a fellow come around and wanted to take our picture. And he had a black and white Shetland pony. And so we let him take our picture. And it really turned out a cute picture. But the folks didn't know we were doing it.
You have to know where your picture is.
I don't know where that is. I wish I knew. I can see it, but I don't know where it is.
What about your sister? What memories do you have of Karma?
Karma, she was so much younger than me, we didn't really know we were sisters when we were growing up. And of course she was the youngest and spoilt rotten.
Still is.
Yeah, still is.
If she sees it, she could be mad at me.
No, she won't.
What about your memories and feelings about your parents?
About my parents. Never had a better dad in your life. He was really something else. Mother was the boss. She told us what we could do and what we couldn't. And sometimes we got upset with her, but Dad never said a cross word. The only time, I'll have to tell this because it's the only time I ever remember my dad getting mad at me, and I deserved it. He wanted me to go to the store, and I said, I'm not going to the store. And anyway, it ended up, he kept after me, and I threw his shoe at him. And he really got upset, and that's the only time I ever seen my dad get upset. And I deserved every bit of it.
What about your mother? She was pretty feisty then, huh?
Yeah, she was. She really was. She really gave us a bad time. And told us what we could do and what we couldn't.
Why don't you tell a few things about, it asks for the life story of your parents, but why don't you just tell a little bit about your parents and what kind of bringing up they had?
Gosh, I don't know what to tell you about my parents. They were good parents.
They were both brought up across the street from each other.
Yeah. They lived across the street from each other and went to school together. They got married on Peach Day, the 15th of September. And they ran away down to Peach Day and got married while they were down there. And that's all I really know about them.
Did they go to church together, you think? Or
I
did
don't
Grandpa
think
ever
so.
go to church?
I don't think that Grandpa ever went to church.
But Grandma probably did, man.
She went, yeah, she went to church a little, but not a lot. But she was in the primary presidency. Mother was.
Okay, tell about some of your Christmases or other holidays as a family. Can you think of anything? It's kind of tough questions, but
We always looked forward to Christmas. You mean,
yeah, if you remember some Christmases that stood out in your mind, or other holidays that stood out in your mind.
with my family,
Yeah.
when I was home?
Yeah.
Well, I always remember that every 4th of July we always had new outfits, always had a new dress and things for the 4th of July. And I remember a pretty white burgundy dress that Mother made me, and May and Carol had, my cousins next door. Each had one, and we were just alike, only they all had a different colored sash.
Did Grandma make all three of them?
No, Aunt Stell made the two, and Mother made mine. Aunt Stell was a good seamstress too. But that was really a good life living there next to them. Me and May were the best of friends. We never went anywhere without each other.
Any other holidays that stand out?
No, I can't think of them. We used to always go down to the big tree in the center of town, and Santa Claus had come. And we always went, us kids did, and they'd pull us on a sleigh. Some of the bigger ones would pull us on a sleigh, like Eldon and Carl, I guess. And we always looked forward to that. And then we always went sleigh riding.
Where at?
On Morley's Hill.
Where is that at, Mom?
Morley's Hill?
Yeah.
Right over in the next block, up by
On the old highway?
Castleton. Sometimes we go clear up to Bonds.
Oh,
Yeah,
so we're
Bonds,
talking about the old highway off those big
Yeah.
hills. Okay.
where the old trucks used to go all the time.
Yeah.
But we'd go up, sometimes we'd go clear up to Bonds, you know, that's that red brick house way up on the hill.
Yeah.
And we'd go clear from there, clear down to town.
Yeah.
That was a good, lots of fun we had.
I used to do the same thing.
Huh?
I used to do the same
You
thing.
did?
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't too newsy then, was it?
Oh, yeah, I used to hooky bob the Garrett trucks going back up the hill. This is your story, not mine.
That's all right. I was glad to know we both did the same thing, and then 20 years apart.
Do you recall any family traditions that you can remember
I can't.
that you did all the time? Maybe at Christmas time, did she prepare a special food or anything like that, or
No.
did any of the other family get together or anything like that?
No, my mother never had a crowd. We went down to George and Mary Stewart's one Thanksgiving when I was little. And when I was walking down there, I was going alone. It was just down here a couple blocks. And Mr. Harrison, that old, you'd never remember him, he used to live on that red brick house on the corner. He had fallen in a snowbank and he couldn't get up. And so I helped him out of that snowbank, and I wasn't very old. And he was so tickled to think I'd stop and help him, the poor old guy.
What was it? You remember his name?
No, I don't. Harrison, that's all I don't know what his first name was.
It's down the street here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, just trying to remember if I might know him or his family.
I can't-
Other family members that were real close to you, that you felt real close to. I mean, you already told about your granddads
Yeah, and Bud.
and Bud.
Bud lived with us when Grandpa died. Then he lived with us. He was just like my brother. Sure thought a lot of him.
Okay. Now these are religion a little bit, and I assume that you were baptized at 8, were you?
I was, but not, I don't think I was baptized right on my birthday. I think it was a month or two. But May and I got baptized together. We did everything together. She was 10 days older than me. And everything we did together.
Who baptized you?
Don Castleton
Don Castle?
and Leo Williams confirmed me.
Well, that's something I didn't recall you saying, telling. Can you think of any faith-promoting experience you've had?
Anyone?
Faith-promoting experiences you've had?
Not really. I don't know whether you want to go that far or not, but when I was put in the Relief Society presidency, I think it was June Justice and Crowther. She was getting released, she was getting put in the Young Women's, and something told me, you're going to be asked to take her place. And I just shook it off. I thought, oh, that's stupid. I'd never be able to do something like that. And then when Bishop Carbridge called me up there and asked me to be counselor in Relief Society, that was really something. And then, I don't know, I've had a lot of them, but I can't think of them right now. But that's one and another thing, when we went to Sun Valley with the Lions all the time, I lost my contact. And it was shag carpet. Do you think we could find that? We got down on our hands and knees, me and your dad, and we looked and looked for that. And I had an old contact with me, and so I thought, well, I'll put that in. And it hurt so bad I couldn't hardly stand it when I went down to breakfast, and I went back up and I knelt down again looking for that contact, said a little prayer, and that contact stuck right up.
I'll be darned.
You know, they're hard to find.
They are, I know. I've looked for ants a few times, so. How about some interesting activities or experiences involving the church? How many years were you? Well, let's talk about your companion in your visiting teaching.
Okay, well, the first thing when I started visiting teaching, before Brooks was born. And I went with Eileen, and she was expecting 2, and that was really nice. But then I went with Vera Smith. And she was something special because she had cancer, but she'd go every dang time she was able to go, and that was a good experience.
That was Wendell's mother, right?
Yeah. And then I've got put with Roberta. Can't even talk about it. We went visiting teaching for about, I think it's over 30 years, but I don't know just when it is. But we always had 100%. Always had 100%. When she got ready to go, I was ready to go, and it really made it nice.
I thought it was more like 40 years, Mother. Was it?
I don't know. It was right after Vera died. And Pam could tell me when it was, but I'm not sure. It was better than 30 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. It could be that long.
Yeah.
But it's really been something to be visiting teaching with her. She is a special friend. She does all the teaching now herself, but I went twice with her up to Gladys's and back, and I want to go again down to the nursing home. We've got 4 in the nursing home, and she does it every month, and she will not get a new partner. When we were in the Relief Society presidency together, she said, Eileen says, we've got to start going visiting teaching. She said, we haven't got enough visiting teachers. And Herbert said, that's fine. I'll be glad to go. But I'm going with Reva. And Melba, she was secretary, and she spoke up and she said, you have been partners long enough, it's time you had a change. And Roberta says, well, if you're going to change me, I won't go. And she does every month. she takes flowers down to them. We buy them flowers or something every Christmas and then their birthdays, but she takes flowers down most of the time. And she visits me practically every day. And who could find a friend like that?
How about, do you know who give you a blessing when you were blessed as a baby? Who blessed your mother?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, I want to tell you though that I worked in the Relief Society. I worked in the primary all those years. And then I was secretary of the Relief Society. And then I was put in second counselor in the Relief Society. And they have been extra good experiences. I sure miss them. I enjoyed both of them.
Okay. Well, let's talk about schooling a little bit. At what age did you begin schooling?
6. I can't think who my first grade teacher was.
That was up here, right?
Yeah, yeah, in school up here. Old schoolhouse.
That's where I started, right?
Yeah, you probably did.
You remember your feelings when you at starting school?
No, I don't remember that. I liked school though. I had a lot of good friends in school.
And the junior high was the next building over, right?
Yeah, the next old building, I went through that.
And you attended the Malad High School. Was a Malad Dragon.
Yeah.
And tell about some of the dances and athletic events and parties you had.
Well, talking about the Dragons, I want to say about Dad. He was playing ball and they ordered these new suits for the high school. And when they came, they were the wrong suits. And when they pulled them out, they were orange and black and had dragons on them. And him and another fellow, they were trying to decide whether to send them back and keep them. But him and I don't know who, what's his name said, Homer Williams came here and talked when we had championship basketball in the high school. And he told about Dad, and I can't think who the other fellow was. Said, oh, let's keep them. And that's how we got the dragons and the black and orange.
Okay,
I think that's special.
that is special. That ought to be in there. Well, tell about your athletics.
Just played basketball every year.
Is that the only sport you played?
That's all I remember. But we had a Jones team. We even beat, I can't believe we beat Lucille Harrison and them are quite a few years ahead of us, and we even beat them. We had a good team. There was Alice and Helen, and Jean and Jane, and me and May. We had and then when May left, oh, she didn't leave until we were seniors, and I got married when I was a senior, so I didn't play ball when I was a senior. I played a little while, but after I got married in the temple, it wasn't too.
Telephone.
Let it ring. Let's just let that ring. I can't. We might not. This might reverse itself. Okay, you didn't go to college,
No,
and you didn't go to
got married when I was a senior.
beauty schools.
Went to finish school.
You went what?
I said I got married and finished school after I was married.
So your major interest during school was boys?
Boys?
Yeah, or what? Besides your
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah, besides sports, it was boys, I guess.
And you ended the year being the Malad's
Hello.
female athlete of the year, right? Is that right?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you were Malad's best female
My
athlete.
coach introduced me to everybody as her star basketball player, and
No.
she used to embarrass me, but I never did get anything like that.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Well, that's good enough. Your coach says that. That's close enough for me.
Didn't make her.
Was that?
Huh?
You didn't make it? Was that a good educational experience up there at school?
Yeah, I loved it. We had lots of good times in school. I was secretary of the sports club when I was a senior until I got married, and then I quit going to that. But it was fun. I was with a good bunch of kids, really good bunch of kids.
Okay. Was there anything in school that you really excelled at? Any classes, English or writing or?
Oh, I can't think of anything. I was just an average student. I wasn't an A student like my brother.
Was he an A student, Sheldon?
He was a good student.
I don't know whether we're going to get through this on this or not, Mother. I might have to put another tape, and I might have to go buy a couple more.
Well, let's quit. Just
No,
let me,
I don't want to.
just let
This
me
is great.
say one thing about each question.
Let's talk about courtship and marriage. How and where did you meet your spouse?
Right here on the block.
And how did you meet? Or you've just been friends?
Just friends, yeah. Only he tells everybody I chased him until I caught him, so that.
Well, you were pretty quick, so.
We got started going together on September the 2nd, about 1938.
1938. That
I
was
think we
about
just
your
went
first
together a
date.
year.
And how old were you then? Mother, about 16?
Yeah,
15, 16,
17 probably.
17?
Probably would have been 17 on the 2nd in October.
Can you think of any special dates you went on? You and Dan?
No,
Where did you used to take you? Did you go to the movies, or did you go swimming in Donetta, or
when I was young, I
school
used
dances,
to go
or
to dances over to Donetta. We
your
to
dad
go
used to take you over there to those?
No, went on a bus. But no, a special date, I can't think of any. When we started going together, we went everywhere. We went together, went dances mostly. Dances and shows. And
What-
I can't
What
think.
were your first impressions of him?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I just told Lonnie to ask about him, and I said, well, he's the best looking and he was the best dancer.
He was a good dancer, there's no
Yeah.
doubt about that.
He was.
How did you get engaged?
I think I got my ring for her birthday. I think so.
And then you were married November 22nd,
1939,
1939,
in the Salt Lake Temple.
Salt Lake Temple. How did your family respond to your choice of a mate? That's the
That's a bad question. Oh, I think they were all happy with him, even if he was a strict old guy. What did Berlin call him? Ornery old guy.
Can you share some of the feelings of your wedding day?
Did it what?
Can you remember some of the feelings you had on your wedding day?
Scary getting married in the temple. We left here about 4 o'clock in the morning, got down there about 8, and there was about 32 brides that day. I couldn't believe it. We didn't get out until about 4 o'clock. Spent all day in the temple. But it was a good experience.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe went with us, and my Aunt Stell and Uncle John went with us, and Lyle, my sister-in-law Lyle's mother, I think she must have worked in the temple, but she was there with us too for some reason or other.
I'll be darned. Where did you honeymoon?
Right here.
You didn't go on a honeymoon?
No.
Okay.
What show?
Went to the show, huh? Okay. You remember what show it was or what you saw?
No.
Huh?
It was bank night.
Went to show into the bank night and she just missed by one number getting $40.
I'm going to trade this. Put another one in.